some voices never truly leave us. Long after the applause fades, their music still lingers, soft, aching, eternal. These 15 legends shaped the very soul of music. But behind every timeless melody is a life cut short, a story of brilliance, loss, and memory. In this tribute, we walk through the places where their presence still echoes. From strawberry fields to Paisley Park, their spirits remain. Stay with us as we remember their light, their sound, their legacy. This is Celebrity Obituary, where music never dies.
1. John Lennon, the voice of peace. Born into wartime Liverpool, John Lennon rose from loss and longing to lead the most influential band in history, the Beatles. Yet beyond the fame, he longed for something deeper, peace. With songs like Imagine, he dreamed of a world without borders, without war, without hate. That dream was shattered on December 8, 1980, when he was shot outside his New York home. But Lennon still lives, quietly, tenderly, at Strawberry Fields in Central Park. There, beneath the mosaic that simply reads, Imagine, fans lay flowers and close their eyes, not just in grief, but in hope. Because when we remember Lennon, we remember the kind of world we still believe in. 2. Jimi Hendrix, the Electric Prophet. Jimi Hendrix lit the world on fire, not with destruction, but with sound. Born in Seattle and raised on rhythm, he turned the guitar into something otherworldly. His performance at Woodstock remains one of the most haunting sounds ever captured, raw, defiant, transcendent. And then, at only 27, he was gone, lost to an accidental overdose in 1970. But in his hometown, Hendrix Village stands not as a museum, but as a living stage. It welcomes young musicians, echoes with vibrant chords, and passes on the flame. Hendrix isn't just remembered, he is still felt, still played, still alive, every time a string bends to the sky.
3. Elvis Presley, the King Still Lives. Before he wore a crown, Elvis was a boy from Tupelo, Mississippi, raised in the church and cradled by the blues. With a swing of his hips and a voice dipped in soul, he changed music forever. He became a symbol of rebellion, of desire, of American dreams. But on August 16, 1977, the King died in solitude within the walls of his beloved Graceland. And yet Graceland lives. Fans arrive by candlelight, leaving roses, teddy bears, and prayers. It is no longer a house. It is a sanctuary. Elvis's voice still drifts through the halls, reminding us that greatness is never truly gone. It just finds new ways to sing. 4. Michael Jackson, the eternal moonwalker. From child prodigy to global icon, Michael Jackson's life was a symphony of talent and turbulence. Born in Gary, Indiana, his journey from Jackson 5 to solo stardom redefined pop forever. With every step, spin, and whisper of hee-hee, he enchanted the world. But behind the glittering glove was a fragile soul. On June 25, 2009, the world wept as he left us suddenly, aged just 50. His Neverland Ranch now stands silent, but his memory dances on. From worldwide tributes to spontaneous moonwalks in city squares, Michael is still here, in movement, in memory, in music. His legacy reminds us, even stars that fall still light up the night.
5. Bob Marley, reggae's revolutionary. Born in the humble hills of 9 Mile, Jamaica,
Bob Marley carried the fire of freedom in his voice. His songs were hymns for the oppressed. No woman, no cry. Redemption song, one love. He sang of unity, resistance, and love. In 1981, cancer claimed his life at just 36, but could never claim his message. At the Bob Marley Museum in Kingston, his spirit breathes through every wall. Visitors don't come for nostalgia, they come for healing. Marley's music doesn't whisper of the past, it calls us to act in the present. Because legends like Bob don't die, they rise with the rhythm of every heart they once touched. 6. Freddie Mercury, the Bohemian Spirit. Born Farrokh Bulsara in Zanzibar, Freddie Mercury's voice would one day command stadiums, and his presence would redefine what it meant to be a frontman. With Queen, he crafted anthems that made us weep, dance, and dream. From Bohemian Rhapsody to We Are the Champions, he gave everything until AIDS stole him away in 1991. But Freddie's flame refuses to dim. In Montreux, Switzerland, a statue of him faces Lake Geneva, fist raised to the sky. Fans leave flowers, notes, and tears. And every time Don't Stop Me Now blares through speakers, the world feels his laughter again. He may be gone, but the show, his show, goes on. 7. Whitney Houston, the soulful diva. Whitney Houston was born with a voice that sounded like prayer. Raised in gospel choirs and rooted in faith, she soared with ballads that pierced the soul. Her version of I Will Always Love You wasn't just a cover, it was an eternal promise. Yet behind her perfect pitch lay pain, and in 2012 she was found lifeless in a hotel bathtub, her voice suddenly silenced. At New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, where she once sang as a child, her funeral echoed with hymns and sorrow. Fans still gather there, not just to mourn, but to marvel, because Whitney taught us that vulnerability was strength, and love, true love, never fades. 8. Kurt Cobain, the voice of a generation. Born in the quiet town of Aberdeen, Washington, Kurt Cobain became the reluctant leader of a cultural revolution. With Nirvana, he screamed for a generation drowning in apathy and pain. Smells Like Teen Spirit wasn't just a song, it was a mirror. But Kurt never found peace inside the fame. In 1994, he took his own life at 27, leaving behind a note and an entire world aching with guilt and grief. Today in Aberdeen, a weathered bench by the river bears carvings, candles, and poems. Fans sit in silence, strumming invisible guitars. They don't just remember Kurt, they feel him. In every whisper of rebellion, in every broken but beautiful chord.
9. Prince, the Purple Enigma. He was simply Prince, a genius from Minneapolis who blurred every line between funk and rock, masculinity and femininity, divinity and desire. Purple Rain, When Doves Cry, Kiss. His music was not just sound, it was seduction, protest, revelation. In 2016, the world gasped when news broke of his sudden death in his Paisley Park home. But Paisley Park is no longer just a residence, it is a sanctuary of sound. Visitors walk through purple halls, past glittering costumes and handwritten lyrics. They speak softly, as if he still listens. Prince showed us what it meant to be free, and now, even in death, he refuses to be ordinary. 10. David Bowie, the chameleon of sound. David Bowie was never just one thing. He was Ziggy Stardust, the thin white duke, the man who fell to earth. Born in London and made of stardust, he taught the world how to embrace its strangeness. His music was both strange and sacred. In 2016, just days after releasing his final album, Black Star, he died from liver cancer. His last act, a poetic farewell. In Brixton, a mural of Bowie with his iconic lightning bolt watches over passers-by. People leave notes like prayers, some crying, some singing. Bowie's lesson was simple: become who you are. And now, even in death, we are still becoming, thanks to him.
11. Amy Winehouse, the torchbearer of soul. Amy Winehouse had a voice older than her years, raw, aching, impossibly deep. She came from North London, armed with jazz records and poetry scribbled in the margins of notebooks. Her album, Back to Black, was more than a masterpiece, it was a confession. But fame proved too sharp, too heavy. In 2011, at just 27, she was found lifeless in her home. The world lost not just a singer, but a soul unfinished. In Camden Market, a bronze statue of Amy stands defiant, hand on hip, hair in a beehive. People leave lipstick kisses on her cheek. Her legacy is not in the tragedy of her fall, but in the vulnerability she gave us so freely, asking only that we listen. 12. Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. Born in Memphis, raised in Detroit's gospel churches, Aretha Franklin turned pain into praise and defiance into dignity. Her voice was thunder and balm, with hits like Respect, Think, and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman becoming anthems for women and civil rights alike. She passed away in 2018 after a long illness, surrounded by love and legacy. Detroit still sings her name. Her old recording studio is now a museum, and every August, a festival in her honor fills the streets with music, food, and memory. Aretha didn't just sing, she declared, and the echo of that declaration still lingers in every woman who has ever raised her voice.
13. Tupac Shakur, the rebel poet. Tupac was a storm. Raised in struggle, molded by art and activism, his words were both gunfire and gospel. With Dear Mama, Changes, and Keep Ya Head Up, he gave voice to the unheard. Yet the streets he spoke for would ultimately silence him. In 1996, he was shot in Las Vegas, gone at 25. But Tupac never vanished. His lyrics live on walls, in classrooms, in courtrooms. Wake Me When I'm Free, the museum exhibition that bears his name, draws thousands seeking to understand the fire behind the fury. Tupac reminds us, the body may fall, but the voice, when it speaks truth, never dies. 14. Jim Morrison, the Lizard King. Jim Morrison walked through life like a myth in motion. Born in Florida, made infamous in California, he led the Doors into the unknown. His poetry was laced with darkness, his voice with danger. Riders on the Storm felt like a prophecy. In 1971, at age 27, he was found dead in a Paris apartment bathtub. No autopsy, only mystery. At Père Lachaise Cemetery in Paris, fans still kneel before his grave, lighting candles and scribbling poetry. Jim Morrison didn't want to be understood. He wanted to be felt. And that feeling, uneasy, electric, eternal, still lingers in the rain.
15. Edith Piaf, the Little Sparrow. Edith Piaf was born on the streets of Paris, abandoned, blind for a time. Yet she rose to become the most beloved voice of France. Her songs like La Vie en Rose and Non, je ne regrette rien told of heartbreak, survival, and devotion. She lived fiercely, loved deeply, and sang with every thread of her soul. She died in 1963, frail but undefeated. In a small museum in Paris, Edith's gloves, gowns, and photographs whisper stories.
Her voice still floats through Montmartre like perfume. She was called the Little Sparrow, but she flew higher than most ever dared. And in every song of longing, she still soars.
They're gone, but never truly lost. In every note, in every lyric we whisper alone at night, they return. These artists gave us more than music. They gave us parts of themselves. And in remembering them, we remember ourselves. Their homes became shrines. Their names became echoes. Their silence became song. If their stories touched you, don't let them fade. Keep their voices alive. Subscribe to Celebrity Obituary, because legends never die, as long as someone listens.